Sorry, my microphone was muted. I didn't realize that. Anyways, Annie the cat, thank you. I appreciate that. And Duck, I was just saying it was kind of funny. There was a rogue that tried to kill me earlier today 3 different times, and I killed him every single time. And he got so mad, he private messaged me and was like, "You suck. All you do is let your pet do all the damage." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I'm a hunter. I have a pet, and you have me like locked down with your, with your stun locking. What do you want me to do? Like, of course my pet's gonna attack you. That's kind of part of the hunter class. If you have me stun locked, don't get mad that my pet's hitting you in the face." It's just like he's complaining about my pet doing damage to him. Yeah, it was so funny. I was like, "Sorry, dude." But if you look at it, was so funny. Oh, he was mad. He like tried to kill me 3 different times. And this is high risk mode, right? So in high risk mode, when you get killed, you drop loot. So like I was able to like loot like, I got like, what is it? Like, see this stack of 20 heavy runecloth bandages? I looted this from the rogue. He dropped some thistle tea. He dropped a couple like green items and stuff. And so I'm sure he's pissed, right? It was funny. People will be like, "Oh, the melee hunter's such a meme spec," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's this meme spec melee hunter that just beat your ass." Oh, it's too funny. So I just crit him with Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike for 500 damage while I have Aspect of the Viper up, which cuts my damage by 50%. So that means I would have just hit that guy for 1,000 damage with basically one swing, which is pretty good. Right there's 442 crit with counterattack. Still got a few more levels to go though. Jury's still out on the melee hunter though. We still got a ways to go yet. Warlock was up to something. Yeah. I just hope that a lot of people transfer off this server, so it's not so bloody crowded, because it's just too crowded, man. Why does it keep saying out of range? I don't understand why every time I do an attack here it says out of range. Like, it's not out of range. I don't understand why it's saying that. Unless... Unless my mouse wheel up for some reason it still thinks that this is a key. I think that's the problem we have, is that these keybinds are getting multiple layers of key bindings, if that makes sense. So it's bar 3. So we need to make sure that bar 3 is T. Let me try something here. This is something to do with bartender. Bartender keeps its own keybinds outside of the regular keybinds, which can be really annoying. So we want to go bar 3, which I believe is bottom left. No, I guess it's not bottom left. So let's see, Z. It's got to be bottom right then. No? Okay, so it's this one. Okay, so this is bar 3. So yes, you got T is kill command. That's bartender. Well, what's the regular? Let me try something. Let's try... Can we just press escape to clear? We're going to hit escape. I'm going to try something here. Okay. So that worked. We weren't seeing the out of range again. But now, will kill command work is the question. Let's find out. Nope. Okay, cool. So I think something to do with bartender's key bindings. It like is doing something weird. Let's go quick key binding, and now we're gonna put this back. What was that? Quick key binding. Characters. Okay, character specific. That's fine. Cool. Now let's see if it says that out of range this time. I hate having like red text appear on my screen, like this interrupted, not in line of sight, all that shit. Okay, now we're not seeing. Now we weren't seeing out of range. I do think that if you have a keybind, like on bartender, you set it to like mouse wheel up, and then you change it to something else, it's almost like it retains the previous keybind. It's really weird. I don't know. But to just completely removing the keybind and adding it back fix the issue. Or I was getting the text saying, hey, you're out of range, which is like, I'm not out of range, I'm staying right next to the mob. So, bizarre. But I think it was saying I was out of range because it thought I was trying to use kill command. Sounds too loud. Let's go ambient sounds, sound effects. Let's see if this is better. It's a little better. See, 28 is 40, 56, so 50. We need more leather. That doesn't make any. Yeah, that is weird. That is kind of strange. Hey, what's up, Foxy? Yeah, it's fun. What I like about this server is the PvP. So if you like PvP, this is a great server. I'm doing okay, Foxy. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? And the Melee Hunter build is a lot more interesting here than would be like on Turtle WoW. Like the Melee Hunter in Turtle WoW is pretty awful. Right, because because of the way Ascension works is you have, think of it as like a glyph system. They call it Mystic Enchants, but it's kind of like glyphs. And this has been around in Ascension for years and years and years. So this isn't something they just came up with recently. I mean, these Mystic Enchants have been, I think, in Ascension for probably 6 or 7 years or something. So what it is you have different types of Mystic Enchants. Think of them as like glyphs. You've got like a Legendary, you've got Epic, and you've got just like these blue ones, which are, I guess, what you would call those like rare. And then you have this one here, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like almost like a higher level than Legendary. And you just, you learn all of these different ones. Like you can see these are the ones I've learned, but there's ones that I haven't learned, right? Like these are the ones on just on the Hunter class that I haven't learned, and there's 4 pages of ones that I haven't learned, and a lot of these are just talents in the talent tree, right? Like the higher level ones, like the legendary ones, are very unique. They're like unique abilities. Um, yeah, it's artifact. I always forget that it's called artifact. Hey George, what's up? And so, but the other ones, so there's some of these have like unique abilities, like this one, like this legendary deadly bite. So dealing damage with mongoose bite or counterattack applies deadly bite, and it stacks up to 5 times. It just basically does a bleed that does damage over time, which may not be the best legendary for my melee hunter build, but it's one I'm using currently. We may get rid of that. Like right now, you can see that deadly bite's only accounting for 10% of my damage, which isn't really, for something that's a legendary, that does to me just doesn't seem good. There is Flare Strike. What is this? Fire flare that exposes any hidden and invisible enemies within 10 yards. When it expires, a rain of arrows is called down. I mean, just really interesting, unique things like this. Now, the blue ones are just basically just replacing kind of stuff in your talent tree. So, for example, this is really interesting. Here you can see the ones I've collected. And let's see. I don't know why some of these are highlighted, but I'm looking for a specific one here. Let's go monkey, right? So here I've got improved aspect of the monkey, which is a blue one. All that is basically the exact same thing that's in my Beast Mastery tree right here, improved aspect of the monkey. But what makes that so unique is I've put 3 talent points into improved aspect of the monkey, but if I want to recoup those talent points, I can. So in essence, I could go into my Mystic Enchants here, and I could slot in one of these blue areas, these little blue ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could slot improved monkey into one of these, and then I would basically have the same effect as if I put 3 talent points into improve aspect to the monkey. So what makes that really cool is now I can basically take these points, these 8 talent points out of this tree, get the same effect of those talent points by just using the 2 Mystic Enchants, which would take up 2 blue slots here. But now I can take those 8 talent points and go back into my survival tree and put them into an area that normally I wouldn't have. Yeah, so they're like extra talent points. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really interesting, I like the way they did that. I really like the way they did that. The Mystic Enchant system in Ascension, which I said has been around for a very, very long time, is a really good system. The things that Ascension has done that I don't like is I'm not a fan of the crazy amount of loot that drops in the game, like way too much loot. And I'm not a fan of the weapon scaling. Like, for example, like I could kill the same, I could be killing mobs that are level 20 and get like, you can see I'm getting all these, because I'm running high risk, PvP high risk mode, and when you run PvP high risk mode, mobs drop blue gear like crazy, like these Bloodforge gear. But see, this is a level 42 Bloodforge Witch Doctor's Cane. If I was like lower level, let's say I was level 20, I might get the exact same item, but it would, instead of being level 42, it'd be like level 22. So you end up getting, and I'm not a fan of that, of the level scaling. I like the original where if a Flurry Axe drops in the game, it's always a level 42 item, because that's what it is. It's unique. It's a unique drop, world drop, you know. Anyways, so George, am I going to transfer to Malfurion? The only thing that would keep me from transferring, I would like to transfer to Malfurion, just because, you know, I don't like the laggy. This server is so laggy because there's basically just too many people on it. But the PvP, the problem with the mobs is that they are, I'm sorry, I got too many things going on in my mind at once. The problem with the PvP queue, right? The battleground queue, is that it doesn't share the queue across both of these 2 servers. These servers are both the same type of servers. There's Bronzebeard, there's Malfurion. Bronzebeard has 3 to 4 times at least the player base that Malfurion has. But if you go to Malfurion and you try to queue for battlegrounds, you have to wait. I mean, they don't pop right away. I don't know how long you have to wait, but you have to wait significantly longer. That's the only reason I don't transfer to Malfurion. So what I'm hoping is that enough people do transfer to Malfurion that it starts to lessen some of the latency on this server. But so far, I haven't seen that, but I'm hoping. You know, I'm hoping that people do transfer. And just to show you, like if I go in here and I queue PvP, right, which it won't let me do right now for some reason. You cannot queue. Oh, it's because I'm in the open world. It won't let you queue for PvP when you're in open world and high risk, which is kind of weird. But if I were to queue for PvP right now, it would the queues pop usually within like 5 seconds. Like 5 seconds. Like what World of Warcraft server have you ever played on where when you queue for Battlegrounds, consistently the queue pops within 5 seconds? I can't think of there ever being a WoW server I've ever played on where it was consistently less than 5 seconds. Like I've actually gotten out of a battleground, re-queued, and been back in a new battleground in less than 5 seconds. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy. So if you like PvP like I do, that's really awesome, you know? That's really, really good. I don't know how much longer they are on Malfurion. All I can tell you is that when I did queue, because I've got a level 20 hunter on Malfurion, that when I did queue, I waited for about 30-40 seconds and the queue had not popped yet. So they're definitely longer queues. I just don't know how much longer. And that could be solved easily if they would just share both servers. I'm surprised that they don't. I'm not sure what the logistics are. Foxy, you might know better than me. You know, like how difficult it would be just to make sure that the battleground queues share the player pool across both the two servers. So. I think long term Malfurion is always meant to be a temporary server. The problem is the biggest problem I see is that for some reason they refuse to lower the cap on Bronzebeard. And as far as I know, the cap is 20,000 players. As far as I know, that Bronzebeard can literally have like 20,000 players in it at once. And so, of course, you have this massive latency spikes all the time. Server crashes are fairly frequent. And I mean, it's pretty easy to solve that just by lowering the player cap. Because 20,000 just isn't really, in my mind, a feasible cap. I mean, I would lower that down to around like 10,000, to be honest. That's what I would do. But then, if you did that, you'd have a queue of players probably waiting, to get in. I guess they don't want to have that. They'd rather have a laggy ass server that crashes as opposed to people having to wait in a queue to get in. I'd rather have to wait in a queue to be personally, but I'd rather know that once I'm in the server actually runs smoothly, Hmm. 5 agility, 6. Increase attack power by 24. Oof. Seven 7.6 I mean, Epoch is in all essence dead because, Dutch did a perfect rug pull on that, where he basically, I mean, as far as I know, they're supposedly still developing for it, but from what I've heard, it's pretty much a ghost town. Like most of the bigger streamers that were like streaming Epoch have come to this server, Bronzebeard. You know, I think what's interesting is Epoch's more of a traditional Classic Plus, like slow leveling experience, right? The thing with this server here is it's completely different in that it's super easy to get like gear. Like, I mean, look at me. I can sit here and just since I've come out here, I've been out here killing these raptors for like what, 30 minutes? And in that 30-minute time span, I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blue items. In a span of 30 minutes, I've gotten 9 blue items. So that just shows you the ridiculousness, right? But that's because I'm high risk mode. Yeah. Well, remember Blizzard like served Katos with a cease and desist, and he basically acquiesced and folded folded up camp, which is really funny because remember Katos said in an interview that if Blizzard ever sent them a cease and desist letter, he would just throw it in the trash. But then when it actually happened, what did he do? He tucked his tail between his legs and ran. So I thought that was kind of funny. You know what I mean? That's exactly what happened. I mean, that's exactly what happened, Foxy. He's like, oh, yeah, Blizzard. And he said that in an interview. If they ever sent me a cease and desist, I would just throw that in the trash. But that's not what happened. But what's really interesting is Blizzard sent a cease and desist to Turtle Wow, and basically they're suing Turtle Wow, right? And they sent a cease and desist to Epoch, but as far as we know, and Ascension has, if Ascension has received a cease and desist, they haven't, they haven't mentioned it. They haven't said anything about it. Uh, well, that open letter was such a farce. That was like the dumbest thing. I'm sorry, but that was stupid. That was like so dumb. I mean, really. Like, Turtle puts up this letter, right? Let's see. This one here. What they put on their forums, right? Saying, we're Turtle Wow, a group of fans bought this like whole letter saying, on the behalf of the community, we can say that all players would be deeply grateful if you would consider working with fan communities like ours to create a clear, lawful pathway for building upon the legacy of World of Warcraft universe. While I agree with the sentiment, I find this very funny that Turtle puts this out because Turtle has been very brazen and outspoken about kind of basically sticking their finger in Blizzard's eye and kind of rubbing Blizzard's eye in the fact that their server has so many people in it. They've they have not shied away from kind of making fun of Blizzard and basically laughing at Blizzard with how successful their private server project's been. So to sit there and be kind of dicks to Blizzard and then turn around and be like, hey, could you please let us run our server legally because that would be really nice, is just kind of hilarious, to be honest. You know? Exactly. I mean, it's just, the sentiment is, there's the sentiment of loss. There's no sincerity in that sentiment. You know what I mean? Well, what they're doing is it's a PR. Yeah, exactly, Annie. It's just a PR stunt. They're trying to get the community on their side because, let's be honest, the one thing that's changed in the video gaming world is that the community has a lot of power, right? And nowhere was that more evident than when Asmongold decided to play Final Fantasy XIV. When Asmongold said, "Hey, I'm going to go play Final Fantasy XIV," the amount of players that he drew to Final Fantasy XIV pushed its player count higher than Blizzard's, higher than World of Warcraft. And Final Fantasy at the time, when Asmongold went over to play it, became the most popular MMO at the time. And it just goes to show you the power that streamers have and the power that the gaming community has. So what Turtle Wow, in my opinion, is trying to do is they're trying to garner all of that kind of community on their side and trying to put pressure on Blizzard from that point of view. They're trying to pressure them to say, hey, all the players who really love your IP, want this stuff. So try to make it, you know what I mean? Yeah, maybe Fox. Yeah, maybe. Mm, the Blood Forged Widowmaker. Yeah, I agree. Asmongold kind of, I don't think he really talks about WoW a whole lot anymore. So WoW needs another. Maybe they need somebody, but I don't know, man. I think to me, World of Warcraft's on its way out. I mean, I say that, and I'm probably wrong, but it feels like to me that WoW just isn't, And I think the fact that a server like this, like Bronzebeard, can be as popular as it is, just goes to show you that people are getting tired of. You can only play classic World of Warcraft so long, I mean, it's a long, and that's a long time, right? I've been playing classic WoW for 8, 9 years, and I've played World of Warcraft since 2004. So I think people are getting tired of the same old with World of Warcraft. People are much more excited about playing a new MMO than I think they are. Most people, not everybody, obviously, but WoW isn't going to be around forever. I mean, obviously, it may be. Who knows? Maybe it'll be around for another 20 years. I don't know, but I don't think that's because of WoW being such a great game, as much as there just aren't any other games out there. Yeah, I haven't even, to be honest, I haven't even looked at Midnight. Like, I mean, WoW has become so woke and ridiculous, like the retail version, that I don't even pay it any attention at all. I pay it no attention whatsoever. You don't like the add-on purge for combat add-ons? Yeah, again, I'm kind of out of the loop. I know that they were getting rid of some of the add-ons. Are you saying that are they getting rid of all add-ons, or you're just saying like combat based? I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of add-ons anyway. Like, I use add-ons because it makes the game easier to play, but I would prefer that there were no add-ons because it may make the game harder to play in a way without add-ons. It doesn't, because it may make it harder to disseminate the information, especially like combat and monitoring of cooldowns and stuff. But that's not really a problem. Like, because if you don't have add-ons, you just get used to that. You find other ways to deal with that, and not having to deal with add-ons makes just jumping in and playing the game so much easier. Like, every time I go to a different server, I got to get all these add-ons, I got to set them up, I got to configure them. It's always just a pain in the ass, you know. Yeah, but Annie, you're one of those people that this. Wait, hold on a sec. Let's see what we got going on over here. What we got going on over here? Is this a blood elf? It's a human warrior. Level 28. He can't hurt me. He could try to kill me, but it wouldn't matter. But you're one of those people that care about the game, and you're able to, apparently, Annie, you're probably able to look past all the shortcomings, maybe? I can't look past the shortcomings of retail WoW. There's too many. Like, I don't care that they've done cool things like what you're saying, because I don't care, because you've screwed up the game so much I don't care anymore. Like, I can't look past your flaws. There are too many. And you don't deserve my money, and you don't deserve my attention to retail. You don't deserve it anymore. Because you're an evil corporation that has basically tried to use and abuse the player base for so long that, I don't care about you. That's just the way I look at it. Or target is, wow. So if I'm high risk mode, I can't attack a mob that somebody else is attacking. That's interesting. Yeah, and see, even that, I don't even care. Like I said, I've played every expansion of World of Warcraft ever since the game's been around, right? I've always played them. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure I'll probably play Midnight at some point, just because I've played WoW for so long, and not because I don't want to give Blizzard money, but I'll always play it. A lot of reason I play it is because my people that watch me stream, they want to. It gives it's. I don't want to not be able to talk about the content. Like if someone starts getting on here and asking and talking about all the new things in Midnight, it would annoy me that I don't know what those things are. It would actually annoy me. I'd be like, oh, I haven't played the game. I don't know, and that would annoy me to a certain degree. But I wouldn't play Midnight because I think it's going to be good. Because I don't think it'll be good. I mean, I'm sure they're adding things that are good, but as a whole, it'll never be good because it's too corrupt. Because the company's too corrupt. Because the game is too corrupt. Because there's too many bots. There's too much pay to win. Not necessarily pay to win, but there's gold selling and gold buying and boosting and GDKP and all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, ruins the game. And the one thing about this server is that I don't like. Yeah. One thing about this server that I talked about that I didn't like was how much loot drops and stuff. But the fact that so much loot does drop in this server, right? And the fact that there's these systems built into this server, like this daily quest that I'm doing right now. The reason I'm killing these guys is I'm doing a daily quest to turn in Hillman's leather gloves, because it's going to give me these runes of ascension, but it's also going to give me these chests that have like raid gear in them. And so it's really easy to make money on this server if you know how to. So because of the way the server is set up, people aren't going to really need to buy gold. And you don't really need to do that kind of stuff because there's too many ways in the game to get what you need. It's a lot more convenient, I guess. This server is a server that's really good for players like me who don't have as much time to play MMOs as I did when I was younger. You know what I mean? And this server focuses on, bag space. This server focuses on the areas of the game. It allows me to focus on the areas of the game that right now in my WoW career, that I enjoy the most, which is theory crafting. Like theory crafting different builds and doing PvP are my two favorite things. And because of the Mystic Enchant system, theory crafting is something that there's a lot of variety in. There's a lot of variety to creating different builds here. This melee hunter build is really interesting, right? Oh, this is like a silver elite. It's the first time I've had to actually drink or eat. Yeah, so this server, like I said, it lets me do some of the things that I really enjoy. The fact that the battleground queues are instant, like pretty much instant. You queue for battleground, it pops within 5 seconds every single time. Yeah, I know they were making the housing. Which I do like housing. But I like housing tied into crafting, kind of like... Anyways, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's... I don't know, Blizzard is just... They don't deserve... I'm sorry, but they don't deserve us as players. They don't deserve our money anymore. Because they've basically shit on us for too long. They've shit on the player base for so long. And now they're trying to just look at what are the little high points, like little key things they can put into the game that'll somehow try to suck in the players. And of course, housing is one of those things. It's something people wanted for years and years and years, right? It's disgusting. It's almost predatory. The way Blizzard creates their expansions now almost feels predatory. Well, it not almost does. It is. It feels very predatory. Like we are just going to try to figure out ways to suck you in like a crack addict who needs their fix, Am I? Do I have control mouse up? Still, I'm struggling with my keybinds. I have a lot more abilities here on the server than I normally would have on a hunter, so I'm definitely having some issues with my key binding. Yeah, well, and there's been some good games out there. I mean, I thought Rift was a great MMO, and I thought Rift was superior to WoW in a lot of ways. But I thought Rift really fell victim to the fact that it came out during what I call the golden age of MMOs. You know, where there were like, four like really strong MMOs that just divided the player base a little bit too much for one MMO. Like if Rift, like if I'm fully convinced that if you re-released Rift right now, and if the servers were nice and stable and smooth, and they kind of fixed some of the latency issues, and if you release that right now with a really good dedicated team of GMs and a team that could keep the vanilla feel of what Rift was on launch, that it would be a very successful MMO, like very successful. I think there's a lot of people out there, and I'm one of those people that would love to play Rift, but that the problem is the current Rift, which is it's still running, is that it's just a dead game. There's just hardly anybody playing it. You've got like maybe 50 to 100 people that log in, I think daily, right? But if that released right now, as it was on vanilla, like day one of its release, and it had like a player base of 20 or 30,000 people, it would be a very successful MMO. But it released at a time when I think there was Terra and Star Wars: The Old Republic, and there were a lot of choices for players at the time. Fellowship. I don't think I'm familiar with Fellowship, Foxy. What is that, like a new MMO? Fellowship? Let me guess, it's isometric, right? This one? I bet you anything this is an isometric game. It's not an MMO? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I have seen this before. Probably. I don't like the art style. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of this art style. This kind of cartoony, bulky art style. I'm just way over this shit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so over this art style. Like just beyond, it's just so tired of it. I mean, this art style it's so bad. Look at this shit. This is just so bad. There's no originality anymore in these games, especially from an artist point of view. They just look at everything else. Well, let's just make it look like, let's take WildStar and like Retail WoW and mix that art style together or something, or this is such a ripoff of World of Warcraft anyway. I mean, this looks like a night elf right here. This looks 100% like a night elf right here. Yeah. And I don't like Mythic Plus, so I would have no interest in playing something like that at all. But I'm just not getting as much medium leather. Well, we're getting some, but not as much as I would like to get. Oh well. Mm-hmm. Hold on, I can hear my wife needs me. Yeah. All right, my wife needs me, guys.